Trades. I've got my dog here, Oreo. Come on, come here. There you go. Hello. Say hello to everybody. He's telling you to like the video. And was it subscribe? Yeah, it was. Gross. Yeah, I know where that tongue's been. And it's... And you've been fired from the stream. And there he goes. Okay, like the video, please subscribe. Also, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. There's 4 trades that I can do this week, but I've only got 9 trades left. So guess what I'm not going to be doing? That's 4 trades. It's not going to happen. But I have a horrible round coming up, which is going to be so much fun. Obviously, Laird's on a bye, Short's on a bye, Bianca's on a bye, Highmore and Hearn are on buys. So I've only got 3 defenders playing in Stewart, Ridley and Jones. Then I've got Bontempelli, probably going to leave him as captain. Merritt will play, Walsh will play, Paddy Dow's playing his 50th game, he's going to play. Boak will play. Brockman has been named, and Brockman, it's the first time that he's been named since round 4. So I was actually expecting to trade him out, but since he's playing, I think I'm just going to leave him in there, and who knows, he might push to 200 and maybe I'll trade him out next week. There's no one that I'm really interested in bringing in for Brockman anyway. It was pretty much just a pity sort of trade because I just wanted to make some cash. I've got currently 43k in the bank. I thought, you know, if I get rid of Brockman, I'll have a little bit more in the bank. But we'll kind of see what happens with that. Now, I just want to see... Yeah, I got volume. That's good because last time I didn't. Newcomb had a really good debut. He ended up having the most amount of tackles on a debut ever, which is amazing. 75 is a pretty good result too for a player that played his first game, and especially at that price. But you know, Oliver's out, Crouch out, Brayshaw out. Pendlebury was an amazing recruit, by the way, last week. I picked him up last week, scored 167. Very happy with that. Hickey will be playing, which is good. No, he's not. Wow, I don't have a ruck. Because Coleman, Jones and Grundy aren't playing either. I just have no ruckman. So I've got 3 defenders, and I have... This is horrible. 3 defenders. I've got 7 midfielders, so that's 10 players thus far. Zorko would play if he wasn't suspended. Danaher's playing. Waterman, if he wasn't injured, would play. He was not named. He's out of the side, injured, and Zeeble. So basically, I have 12 players playing this week. That is horrible. That is horrendous. That is so bad. It's just terrible. I'm not going to make any drastic moves this week. It's a short-term thing. I'm not going to trade out a player like Grundy just so I can score an extra 100 points this week. It's not worth it. I just don't think it's worth it. I do want to trade out either McCreary or Waterman. I'm leaning more towards a McCreary, but I just don't think there's any options out there that are worth me taking the punt. Like, if you look, there's no one that's super cheap. I mean, there's been teams named, and the cheapest player that actually has been named to play is... Let's take a look. I actually want to know who the cheapest player who's been named is. Who is the cheapest player named? Wow. Yeah, I think I've blown my budget just by thinking about this. But who is the cheapest player named? Interesting. There's just no good forward options this year. Cheapest player named. Wow, so many. There's too many buyers. Is the problem. I think no, Rosie. Who is the cheapest player named for the forward line? Either way, I can't afford him. I don't know why I'm looking. I just want to see. I don't see the green anywhere. Say already in the 400s. I'm already in the 400,000s. It doesn't really tell me. Okay. Anyway, the point is, there's no one that I really want for my forward line. Like, I'm looking at the ins and the outs. Riley West is the medical sub. Not really interested in him. Cameron Guthrie, can't really afford him. Jared Liniot. I don't actually know who Jared Liniot is. Why not? Let's do some research. Did I spell his name right? He's a defender, 289. Interesting. Yeah, this is just for my personal knowledge. Oh, okay. He hasn't actually played this year. There might be someone to look out for, but not someone that I'm too keen on. James Madden, not really worth it. I mean, how many games has he played, Madden, this year? You know what? Forward defender. He's played 3 games. 47, 78, 68. So I guess he wouldn't be a horrible recruit. The only issue with James Madden is that he's already jumped up in price because he's played that 3rd game. He was going to play that 4th game. But as you can see, he hasn't been able to keep his spot in the side. 7, 10, and 11. I mean, yeah, he kept his spot for 2 games and he's out and then he's back in again. I don't think James Madden is really worth getting excited for. So, I mean, yes, that is a forward to trade down to, but is it really worth my time? And then I got Luke McDonald who went in. Just want to see how much his price is. Yeah, too expensive for me. He hasn't played this year though, or he's played 1 game, this year, which was in round 4, and he scored 3 points. So that's a player that I'm definitely not picking up at all. Wouldn't be too bad later on in the year though, after he gets a few more games in him. Fogarty, not going to put. Luke Parks. How much is Luke Parks? He wouldn't be that expensive. Yeah, I'm just trying to see what options we have in the forward line to make a trade if I wanted to. Luke Parks is actually a defender. I made a little error there. He's played 5 games this year. Nothing too impressive though. I mean, it would have been a good recruit at about round 4, maybe, but nah, not worth any time really. It's just really, there's just not much. There really isn't much this round. The main thing is that Brockman has been named. I was going to trade Brockman out, but he has been named, so I'm going to keep him for the week. I'm also going to keep Paddy Dow for the week. First of all, both of those players are playing. So I'd rather score something rather than nothing, because at the moment they're looking like nothing is just nothing's really just not an option. So I'd rather score something than nothing, and both those players are probably going to increase in value this week. So I could trade them out next week or the week after if I really wanted to. The other one is, so I was actually thinking of bringing in either a Lachlan Bramble or a Sam Durham from Essendon and Essendon and Hawthorn. So what was his name? How do I spell it? Bramble is $102,000, and he's a midfielder. So that makes him a valuable player to bring in for a downgrade. He's cheap, but the thing is, how much game time is this guy really going to get? And as we creep later on in the season, you really want to be thinking, are the players I'm bringing in going to play as we continue out the rest of the season? Because I'm not really looking at upgrading that much right now. What I'm thinking of doing is downgrading to players that are going to continuously play. So when it comes to finals, I've got some bench support. And a Bramble probably isn't going to be that much bench support when he hasn't showed us anything yet. And look, to be honest, he's not going to go up in price for another 2 weeks anyway. So I would say hold off on him. I'm not keen myself. And then there's Durham, same thing with Essendon. Both Essendon and Hawthorn are type of teams that will play a lot of youngsters, which is good. But I don't know how reliable can they be. Durham, he's probably the one that I'm leaning to a little bit more because that dual position. He's a defender midfielder, 102,400, making his debut. There's nothing really that I can say except that he would be a great trade out with Bianco. So if I was to bring in Durham into the midfield, I'd then have Bianco and him as a trade option. So I'd then be able to work up some some like more sophisticated movements between the two, because I don't have a defensive midfielder outside of Bianco. Probably wouldn't even use it, to be honest. I probably wouldn't even use that option, but at least having the option could be useful, especially if I need an extra midfield support. Bianco's playing, but he's listed as a defender. It could be a good player to bring in and just have that, that option for a bit of a rotation. But again, he hasn't played his first game, so I think holding off. The only players I'm interested in moving on are McCreary and Waterman, and I don't see any forward options that are really tempting. The player that I really want to bring in is actually Luke Edwards. He played really well last week for West Coast. In his second game, he scored a 63 and a 96. He's going to go up in price by a decent amount, but he's not playing this week because of the bye. So I would bring him in if I could, but there's no point. I probably will bring him in next week for either a Paddy Dow or a Brockman. Most likely a Brockman, because Paddy Dow, at least at a minimum, is playing a lot more football than a Brockman. Brockman will also go up in value a little bit more, so it'd be good to bring in a Brockman. Probably will make about 80k, which would be great, because of the difference in price. So I think next week I'll probably end up doing a Luke Edwards in, Brockman out. But we'll see how that pans out. If obviously Edwards isn't named next week, I'm not going to do that. So we're going to have to see. This week, as I said, I'd love to take out either McCreary or Waterman. I just don't see any value in the players that are available. If I just go to the lowest price, because if I was to do it, it would be a cheap player. None of these guys are playing. Was Saunders playing? No, he's not. There's just no one playing that is worth my time. And that's the problem. That is the problem. So I'm sitting there with, there's just no one to trade down to. So I don't see how trading out that player now would really be beneficial for me at all. It's just not. So I'm just going to leave it, and I'm not going to trade those guys out yet. I will eventually trade them out. I just don't know for who. I was thinking a Malcolm Rosas. He's played 3 games. He's gone up in value a little bit, but he got dropped and he's not playing. I think Matthew Park would be a good one when he does eventually play, but he's not playing again. Josh Morris, is he playing this week? No, Harry Morrison. Ooh, he actually might be a decent one. Josh Morris. Yeah, he actually might be okay. No. Do not even bother with that. That is, don't even bother with that. I take that back completely. Yeah, there's just really nobody. Cahill, maybe? Is he named? Ooh, Ned Cahill is named for Essendon. That is an option. That's actually an option. What about Stone? No. Yeah, this one's an option. Ned Cahill is a forward. He's playing his second game. 37 and 15. Look, to be honest, it's nothing impressive, and he hasn't played since round 2. That is a risk. Fullerton, he's not bad. Again, there's no real reason to make the trade this week. So I think I'm just going to stick with Brockman, and I'm going to stick with McCreary, and I'm not going to bother. Oreo, what do you think? You think bring in Luke Edwards next week? Just don't really do anything this week? Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm probably going to cop some pretty bad losses this week, I reckon. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to struggle. But what am I going to do? In reality, I'm not going to make any drastic changes. I think that my side is actually pretty good come finals. So I think I'm just going to leave it. And yeah, this is kind of a boring, boring trade week. Unfortunately, there's not much that I am going to do. So I've got 12 players playing. I can't see that resulting in a big score. Hopefully all of them score at least 100 points, which they all won't, but hopefully they do. And then my captain scores 100, so then they'll score 200. So then I'll be around the 1,300. If I was around 1,300 this week, I think I'd be probably pretty happy, considering how bad of a week I'm going to have. But look, we'll see what happens. I reckon that the person that actually takes out the $1,000 this week is probably going to be someone that scores pretty low themselves. So I know a lot of super coaches are having a bad week, and I'm definitely one of them that's going to have a stinker. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll show you my score on Twitter as I usually do. Check out the blog as well. You can see that in the description below. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll be back same time, same place next week.